With our weather patterns continuing to be a little bit interesting, sometimes we have to think, well, what else can we be getting on with at this time of year? Well, we have been praying for rain, and my word, have we been having it. However, it does mean that our growing spaces are absolutely loving it, and they've had this nice new burst of life coming through. However, for us gardeners, whether we're fair weather or not, maybe sometimes we have to get ourselves out of the rain as well. But what can we still be doing? Now, I'm going to be looking at propagating, and this can actually happen with lots of our florals and our inedibles, but of course it can also happen to our edibles. Now, we may be looking at things like our herbs, which could be our rosemary, our thyme, our oregano, our sage, or in this case, this basil. Now, I have an amazing variety of basil in here in what I have called 40 towers, because I love a bit of a pun, and I want to make sure that I'm going to have this for next year. Now, I didn't grow these from seed, I did actually buy these at the Lincolnshire show, and I'm absolutely loving them. So I have got my cinnamon basil, I have got my red Shiraz, I have got my sweet basil, and I also have my Thai basil in here. Now, if you can see these are actually sort of going to flower, and if I'm going to propagate, I'm not going to take those because actually the energy is going into trying to create seeds. So I might leave some of those to see if I can actually get some seeds and use those as well as using the propagation. Now, when you are going to be propagating anything, you are really looking at those sort of softest stems possible. So trying to avoid any of that hardwood, and the same would really be true with our lavender as well. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of count down from the top of one of these, which hasn't got any flowers on it, and I'm going to go down about 3 of the leaf nodes, and then I'm just simply going to cut it, and there we go. So this is my Shiraz basil, and it smells absolutely amazing. Now, all I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to remove those bottom leaves and leave these top ones. Now, I might actually need to remove a few more of those, because what I don't want to happen really is for all the energy to go into these leaves at this point. Now, there's a few different ways that you can actually do this when you are propagating, and that's what I'm going to do next. And I'm going to take these and a few more cuttings home with me to the greenhouse there. So here in the safety of my greenhouse at home, I can see that the clouds are starting to come over again, and it's a possibility that it's going to start raining. Now, what I have done with all my beautiful basil that I have collected is I have just for now popped them into this water in this jar, just so that the base of those stems are actually immersed in that water itself. Now, what I could do is I could actually leave them in there for about 2 weeks, because this is what I've actually done with these ones, and what we can see is there are an awful lot of roots which have actually come off of these stems. Now, these have actually come off of the primordial roots on the stem. So quite often we may be looking at the roots coming out of the nodes in our plants, but these, you can see on this one in particular, is all the way up. Now, as I say, you could leave them for a couple of weeks to do that, and it just means that you're going to be really certain as to whether or not there is a root system actually forming on this. Now, all we need to do with these, once they get to this stage, is they are going to need to go into some compost, because they are going to start needing some food. So all I'm going to do is, just in a nice little pot, is I'm going to put some of my peat-free compost just in the bottom there, not right the way to the top. And then I'm just going to put a few of these sort of in the top here, and then I am just going to, like we would if we were potting on and planting up anything else, just drop the compost around it, so that I am going to be burying those roots, but I'm not going to be disturbing them in any way. Now, again, if we are planting up, what we then need to do is we just need to really press them in to make sure that they are where they should be. And there we have it. So that's our first way that we can actually be doing and dealing with our cuttings from our basil. Obviously, I'll need to water that in, and then that is job done. But there are other ways that we can do this as well. So we don't have to necessarily wait to our 2 weeks for that to suddenly start forming. We can take our ones that we've actually already just recently picked. There's no root system coming from those primordial areas on our stem, and I'm going to plant these. So again, very, very similar to what I've just done. Just going to take a pot, but this time I'm going to fill it up to the top with my peat-free compost, and then just tap it down so that it's ready. Now, because I've tapped it down, it is nice and firm in here, and if I just start poking those roots in, I might start to cause myself a little bit of problem, especially if it is maybe harder stem that you are actually putting in. You might want to use this, and this is our rooting powder. So as I said, I've already had these in water, so there's a little bit of dampness, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to dunk it into this powder, and then I'm going to tap it off. I don't want it to be absolutely caked. Now if I just pop that straight into my compost as is, the possibility is all that rooting powder is just going to sort of go up to the top, and it's not going to do what it needs to. So because I'm at home near the kitchen, I've got this, and it is a chopstick. There's no way about it, it is a chopstick. Any kind of stick will do, it doesn't have to be a chopstick, it could be a skewer, anything that's pointed. And you see it's around the same width of the stem itself, and I'm just going to poke a hole into my compost, make it nice and big, and then I'm going to pop that in there, and again just bed it in around the sides as well. And I can keep on doing this until I've gone right the way around this pot, and this should, because it's got that rooting powder in it, it should actually really start to create those roots. Now because these are soft stem, I'm going to do another one, again just filling up my pot to the top, pushing it down. Then I get my chopstick again, and this time I'm going to take one of my sweet basils. Amazing. But I am still going to do my hole. I'm still going to do that, make a nice rounded hole, pop it in, and then just backfill it. Now what should happen is all of these should actually take, and I'm going to have more of my beautiful basil plants that are going to be able to keep me going. And rather than being outside, these are actually going to go on the window ledge in my kitchen, so I can use them throughout the winter.